Today we are going to be taking a look at how to set up a trial license for Microsoft's Endpoint Detection and Response product, also known as an EDR solution. As of this recording, the solution is called Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, or MDE for short. In this video, we're going to learn how you can sign up for a trial license, as well as get your first device onboarded into the solution. To get started, we'll open up our web browser and navigate to aka.ms/MDE for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. From here, we see that we have the opportunity to start a free trial, so we'll go ahead and select this. From here, we need to provide an email address, so we'll go ahead and type that in, and select Next. If we don't already have an account associated, we'll go ahead and select Set Up Account. Here we're asked to provide a little bit about ourselves, so we'll go ahead and fill this in as well. And here we are asked to validate the phone number that we provided, so I'm going to go ahead and select Send Verification Code. So now we're prompted for some further information. We have our username already filled out. I'm going to go ahead and make up a domain name, provide a super secure password for my account, and select Next. We have completed our sign up. We have our username as well as received a confirmation email to the email that we provided. Now we'll go ahead and select Get Started. Now this redirected us to the Microsoft 365 Defender portal. This is the single pane of glass for the entire Defender suite. Defender for Identity, Defender for Office, Defender for Endpoint, and so on. We can navigate to this by going to security.microsoft.com. Now that we have access to our portal, we need to initialize our MDE instance. To do this, under Assets, we're going to select Devices. And we'll go ahead and wait a few minutes for this to initialize. And once that's complete, we will be sitting at the device inventory pane. Since we do not currently have any devices onboarded to our MDE instance, we have the opportunity to onboard devices down at the bottom of this pane. So we'll go ahead and select that. This is going to bring us to the onboarding page of the console, but I do want to show you how you can get back here if you were unaware. So if we were on the home screen, we would navigate to Settings, then select Endpoints. From Endpoints, we're going to scroll down to Onboarding. Our first dropdown is for the operating system. By default, Windows 10 and 11 is selected, but we do have multiple operating systems that we can onboard into MDE. Now it is worth noting that the newer Windows operating systems such as Windows 10 and 11, Server 2019, and Server 22 already have Defender for Endpoint built into the operating system. And since this is built into the newer Windows operating systems, you don't need to install another agent within your enterprise. In short, you're simply running a script that registers the device to your organization's respective tenant, all without adding yet another security agent to your endpoints. MDE does support older Windows operating systems such as Windows 7, Windows 8, and Server 2008 R2, but there are a few enhanced security features that are not supported on these legacy devices. You're still going to receive great telemetry from the endpoint and know what happened on the device, but at the time of this recording, advanced features such as automated response and device isolation are not currently supported for these legacy operating systems. For this example, we're going to be leveraging a Windows 10 virtual machine, so we'll go ahead and select Windows 10 and 11. Our second drop-down menu is the deployment method. Now there are multiple options for how we can deploy this out to our enterprise. MDE can be deployed through various methods, be that a local script, running through group policy, SCCM, Intune, or even another endpoint management solution, as long as it can deploy a package to that endpoint. Since we're just setting up a test environment, we're going to go ahead and leverage the local script option. So we'll select local script for our deployment method and select download onboarding package. With our download complete, we'll go ahead and grab our onboarding package and copy it over to our virtual machine. From here, we'll extract out the compressed zip file. And we're now presented with a local script. Now from our virtual machine, we'll go ahead and open up an administrative command prompt. So we'll first navigate to the directory that contains the script, and then provide the script name, and hit enter. From our console, there were a few options as far as onboarding. We saw local script, group policy, SCCM, and so on. The local script is the only option that is going to prompt the user. So here we see this prompting us as the user if we want to confirm or not. All of the other deployment methods will not prompt the user because that will be deployed through an enterprise method such as SCCM, group policy, and so on. So on this device, we'll press Y on the keyboard and then hit enter to start off the process. We see that the script is validating that we have the appropriate admin permissions, validates that the appropriate services are running, and then we'll onboard the device to our tenant. So within just a minute or two, we see that we have successfully onboarded this machine to Defender for Endpoint. So we'll go ahead and hit enter, and we are done. As you can see, onboarding a newer Windows operating system into MDE is extremely simple. Now if we were to jump back over to our console, we see that a simple detection test is provided for us if we wanted to validate that this endpoint is appropriately joined to our tenant and generate a false alert in our environment. So we can go ahead and copy this out and run this within our virtual machine. So from here, if we were to paste this into our command prompt and execute this, this is going to generate a test alert within our tenant. So we'll go ahead and jump back to our console and head over to devices. And within just a few minutes, our device that we onboarded will show up in the device inventory. Now, while we did run the detection script, this is not required for you to onboard any devices. This is just a script that Microsoft provides to provide an additional validation that the device is online and checking in. So within just a few minutes, our device has shown up within the device inventory, and we are all set. From here, we are able to select the device and go into this device entity page. When devices are first onboarded, you may see that some information is not available for a few hours. The device does its initial check-in and then begins performing evaluations of the device. This includes the software inventory, patch level, risk level, and so on. The initial evaluation takes a few hours as Microsoft does not want to negatively impact performance. This is very useful when deploying to a large enterprise with thousands of devices or even a small business during the middle of the day. You don't want yet another reason for your users to have a performance impact. On our workstation, we ran that evaluation test, and to view this, we can go to Incidents and Alerts and view that alert. And within our alerts, we see the test alert for the suspicious PowerShell command line that we executed on that workstation. And those are the basics. That's how we sign up for a trial of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint and onboard our first test device.